Hello beautiful people. I was planning on editing a completely other video, but I just needed to talk about another thing first because I saw people tweeting and posting about it and I felt the need to express my feelings. Lately I also posted a video in which, whether you agreed or not, I stated that i-dle's sudden lack of interest from fans came from a notable inconsistency in musical quality and stability, and specifically in starting going everywhere and also nowhere with their concept, switching for whatever reason and never actually making it their thing or reminding fans on what actually their thing was. Since I was positive that the problem in a lot of groups' careers' confusion were sudden and constant concept swings, this particular topic I'm going to talk about today made me think and I believe I have an opinion on why i-dle didn't suffer their swings and actually became the girl group who could potentially do anything, no matter what. But before we start, I have to remind you that this is gonna be my full and personal thoughts displayed on a public platform. It's nothing objective nor irrefutable. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I forgot to say this in the other video and it obviously caused a lot of discontent, so please remember you are free to disagree with me. I'm doing this for fun and because if we don't talk about K-pop artists we are basically useless creators. Yours is the choice to click on a video and, if you did, you have to be ready for whatever is coming. Sorry for the rant, but the experience with my latest video was a bit rough, and even though I did state strong opinions, nothing is comparable to rude people's comments, especially when they're accusing me of being a hater while I'm literally a stan of half of the industry. So give me the pleasure to think before writing spiteful things. Anyways, as always, don't forget to subscribe, to like the video and to give a look at all my links in the description. I'd be very happy if you did that. I wanna start in the middle, actually. I think the i-dle we have now was born in Oh My God, or if we really have to stretch it, they were conceived during Oh. i-dle is currently known for their bold concepts, especially when it comes to the lyrics or meanings of their songs themselves. If Gen Z feminism is a group, it's definitely i-dle. This only counts for their overall vibe, though. The female empowerment is there since the very beginning. i-dle is about being in charge of a relationship, hypnotizing the counterpart into loving them. Han is about taking power back after a toxic relationship, and it still has this hypnotizing essence to it. They look poisonous in the video and performances, and I know it sounds bad, but it makes them look very potent. Señorita is probably the weaker sister of the three when it comes to the lyrics. It's the first time they talk about being in love in their title tracks, and it's a little more conventional, but it still relies on a very sexy note. They are seductresses, not just simply girls in love. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, I love seeing it, but i-dle always wanted it to be different. Let's throw it out there and actually say Soyeon always wanted it to be different, with all the negatives that could come from it. She was and still is the reason why i-dle has such bangers, and the hate is nonsensical since she is what keeps i-dle strong and alive. Obviously, every member is strongly necessary, but she's the reason they are what they are now. And she's also the perfect center, since her facial expressions and attitude are exactly coherent with the messages their songs have portrayed since the very start. Oh was a bold choice. Differently from its predecessors, all very feminine and quite elegant, this one is just taken out of the streets. It's basically Tomboy's mother. I think this is the moment when i-dle started becoming these unreachable women that were talking about women. This could have gone so wrong, but yet it didn't. I'm afraid Oh is one of the few i-dle comebacks that people don't immediately think of when they're mentioned in a sentence. But still, when someone names it, no one really has bad things to say. This is because the concept change was yet abrupt, but the song was exquisite. And believe me, cause I am not a hip-hop fan, but Oh is just so good. After their debut, this one is indeed the MV with the lowest number of views of all. It's not a big difference, but it tells us that this one came and went. It didn't hurt anyone though, and the only reason why is because the track itself is very good. I have no idea if this is relevant information, but the producer duo made by Soyeon and Big Sancho from debut up till Oh My God only took a break during this comeback, so that could have been a change a lot of fans might have felt in the song crafting. Anyways, if they had gone for a hip-hop concept with a forgettable or even objectively bad song, we probably would have seen downhill. But yet they managed to keep it high. So, the recipe for not losing fans in concept switch is making good songs? Well, not completely, also because liking a song is subjective and, even if a song will be loved by the majority of K-pop stans, can you really predict it while you're writing it? Nope. So let's continue. After Oh, Queendom arrived. And I wasn't there actually, but I think Mamamoo and i-dle were the absolute favorites of the show. These shows are big opportunities, but it depends on how you actually play in them and most importantly after they end, cause they can ruin you or give you the fame you wanted. Take Cosmic Girls for example, they won the competition but it seems their company didn't even notice. It was a big deal but Starship had i-dle to care about. And winning a survival to only release one song after it and people even kinda ignoring it is pretty definitive for the general public. We all know i-dle didn't win the first season, but we definitely also know what their original song written for the show was. Probably forever my favorite by them, Lion is just one of the best songs ever created. Soyeon literally said if I have to write a song for Queendom, I have to think about ourselves as queens. And oh boy she did it right. If you put Latata and Lion together you will notice the difference is ridiculous, but one is basically the evolution of the other. Their performance on the finale was unforgettable. The rap section is mentioned in every single video about the best K-pop raps in history. If it was for this song alone, i-dle would have won. I'm positive it was other questionable performances in the show that stopped them from going to the first place. This was how to make an impact in the industry. People were gagged. Lion was just unexpected and extremely well made. It had an iconic video with stunning shots and a very niche vibe to it. The power was established. i-dle were crowned as the royal rebels of 4th gen and no one was ever gonna doubt it. We could arguably say that a lot of fans tuned in during this era. I was one of them. I actually started stanning after Oh My God, but it's basically the same thing. Yes, because these two songs are twin siblings and are part of the same album. And that's truly important when you are being noticed by everyone. You have to maintain the stakes you established in the first place. And to be honest, I feel like their albums have always been cohesive within themselves. Oh My God was also very shocking. Obvious thing? The lyrics speak to another woman. And it's a love song. I mean a prohibited love song, but it's women singing about another woman. And even though Soyeon tried to hide it, saying it's told towards themselves, we all know what the intent was. This comeback was their peak for 3 years. It put together their strongest attributes, speaking to women and writing for women, and, certainly, building this sort of venomous and dark goddess-like images. It was just impossible not to fall into their web. Dumdi feels a little bit like a special release, maybe because it was just a single, or also because it was specifically a summer hit. And if we stop looking at the song for a second, we can notice an ongoing pattern. The production value is very remarkable. We're listening to a simple fresh song about love, but if you put the video on you will not stop staring at the visuals. It's well directed, it has a beautiful colored grading, an intro that looks like a movie, it's very obviously big and well thought. I feel bored by my own words but, again, the song is amazing. It's so fun, it's crazily catchy. If you listen to it once, you will not forget it, be sure. Plus, obviously, since Lion, everyone is waiting for the Soyeon rap verse, and she didn't disappoint. I know what you're thinking. They had switched concept, again, to something closer to their roots. Why were all fans satisfied? Why did they not lose the fans who joined during their darkest era? Well, the reason is simple. What the majority of fans loved about i-dle was their power, in my opinion, their confidence, Soyeon's huge presence, their catchy choruses and extremely captivating renditions to screen. i-dle really didn't have a big identity music-wise, but the reason why it worked was because they never tried. They never had established a type of sound, they never kept doing the same thing for 2 comebacks in a row, so fans were never there to expect something similar to the thing that came before. i-dle had set the stakes going from Latata to Han. They had kept their feminine essence for a while but making it sure that none of their title tracks sounded alike. The only element I can think of is a slight ethnic presence in their first 3 titles. And we're not speaking about some Red Velvet concept swing, because they made it clear that they would go either red or velvet. They only merged the 2 very much later in their career. i-dle, from the beginning, said we're gonna do whatever. And the reason is not to find in concepts, not to find in music, but in what they were bringing to the table. Female empowerment. Attitude. Sassiness. People love Blackpink because they kick ass. People love strong women. And yes, I am generalizing. I know only smart people love strong women, but I assume I'm talking to those. i-dle wasn't only showing strength and power in their performances and videos, they were also mentioning about it in their lyrics. But, yet, just as anyone in this world, they had to renew themselves to stay relevant and original. And hwaa came up as pretty stagnant. While still being memorable in the K-pop community for its unique choreo, it pretty much struggled in getting the attention of its previous releases. And I don't think the song is bad. It's just a little more low-key. The lyricism is just top-notch, it has such a beautiful meaning of rebirth and every single line is quotable. The visuals, while still being gorgeous to look at, were a little more generic, I'd say. They had lost that authoriality energy Lion and Oh My God had. It was definitely a very 4th-gen music video. Nothing bad with it, but I think people expect something else from i-dle. This was probably where fans were super enthusiastic about it and casual listeners didn't care. And if you notice, it's not like there was a concept switch. The only thing that changed was how hard the comeback hit and how catchy, memorable, shocking it was. After Sujin's alleged scandal, if you were there, everyone thought i-dle was not gonna have success anymore. Everyone was predicting for their new comeback to flop. Sujin was very loved and the K-pop community thought people wouldn't tune in, but they were also considering hwaa as a term of comparison. They had forgotten that Soyeon carried i-dle's career, never ever lacking in creating effective pieces. She has always known what to do, and that's why she's a great leader-producer. She knows what's best for her group. So we went for another route. And thank God we went there, cause it caused them to peak again, in the recently ended year. It's pretty rare to have two such huge moments in your career after only 5 years, but yet they could do it. They couldn't care less about Cube, they couldn't care less about creating controversies. From that time on, they had to do the most. Soyeon is very rebellion-driven, and we can see it now. 2022 and 2023 created a trilogy of releases in which people was tuning in to do what i-dle would do next. How far they would go with their truth. Tomboy's teaser left everyone on the edge of their seats. Them having a censored bad word in their chorus immediately caught everyone's attention. And from that moment on, they haven't stopped. Tomboy was about how people think women have to be contained and elegant and composed, and can't do male things, also blinking at the LGBT community with genderless lyrics. Nude is about how people sexualize and objectify women's bodies. Queen Card is about the beauty standard and how women can't be cool if they don't look good. And let me address I Want That, their latest English album title track, that deals with overuse of power by male partners, and it goes even deeper into creating a delicate and satisfying view on assault. You can get yourself that these are extremely delicate topics that no one ever brings up in the K-pop community. And for each of them, the music video and outfits and artistic direction was absolutely astonishing. Not one single time the creative crew failed. Some of the most iconic visuals of 4th Gen came from these projects. The incredible love for cinema and music in general made them extremely quotationist, with Madonna, Monroe, and Bansky references in Nude and movies such as White Chicks in Queen Card. I don't want to say it again, but obviously the songs were so juicy and engaging, and not only from a musical perspective. These songs are made specifically to be remembered. The beep in Tomboy, the sample in Nude, the repetitive chorus in Queen Card with that goofy-ass choreo. Everything was just perfectly designed. And if you don't see a connection line here, let me help you. Currently, i-dle is provocative. At least, this is the perception we have. And that seemed to work for a lot of us. Every single comeback, we were left speechless, and it's a bunch of things put together that created the immaculate puzzle of what i-dle is today. So, obviously, when the concept photos for their upcoming comeback recently came out, we were all smiling in joy. Because we weren't expecting nothing less. The witch vibe feels so fresh because it's being advertised as truly horror and haunting. We'll see what we get. I only want to mention that the pre-release seems to be called Wife. And I already have an idea on what we could be dealing with, but let's wait before saying something. In conclusion, the day i-dle doesn't shake no one's day with their defiances, is the day we can worry. Because what really makes i-dle special isn't their concept, or their sound. It's their courage, their braveness. Their identity is and has always consisted in daring the watcher to never stop looking. If you finish the lollipop, you'll cut your tongue. Under sweetness, there's sharp femininity and audacious danger. This is why people come back each time to see what they have in store. And this is why they can rock any vibe, any concept, any sound. Their spirit is what makes them i-dle, and be sure they can't lose it. Or, at least, they still haven't.